All for rainbow.
All for rainbow.
All for rainbow.
All for rainbow.
rainbow.
All for rainbow.
This is All for Rainbow podcast. Woo!
Woo!
And with me today is Lee. Hello.
Hello.
We will talk about you and your journey of gender mark change. And let's get onto it.
Let's get started.
So, first question: how did changing your name and gender mark impact your life and relationships to others?
It affected my life definitely in the sense that I was just able, very obviously, I could just change all of the official documents. Like, I could have my bank account and my, other passes that you have, like for, traveling with a train or whatever, changed to my real name, like to the name that I chose. And this impacted my life so far that I didn't have this dysphoria anymore that I would have to have every time that I'd use my old name. Because usually when you have I already started to use my chosen name for less important stuff where it was not really an official thing, but always when it's about insurance or bank stuff and things like this, of course you have to use your real name, like your registered name that you have on your ID. And when I had this paper saying this is my real name, I could just avoid this dysphoria and just go with the name that I would also normally use. And also I could sign up for other stuff with my normal name, and then there wouldn't have to be this awkward thing of me having to explain, oh, this is actually not my real name, please use this name, la 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 la. So yeah, this definitely was the greatest impact, but relationship-wise, it was not so big because most people, I had my outing already 4 years before that, and I had been Lee already for 3 or 4 years at that point. So my surrounding was already used to it. My surrounding it wasn't a big change. Everybody was my closest friends, and my family was very supportive. The only thing that actually changed was with my grandmother, because we do not have a very close relationship with each other anyways, because she lives far away, but she earlier had refused to use my new name because she just, not because she's very queer-phobic or something, but just because she liked my old name better. That was her reasoning. But then when I changed it officially, apparently that was enough reason for her to get that this is apparently something really important. And then she also started using my new name. Yeah.
Oh, nice. All this journey with paperwork and having changed your gender mark and receiving your ID, how did it start?
It was a long journey, definitely. It was I think more than 1 year, maybe close to 1.5 years that it took me. It started with me actually calling a queer NGO. No, wait, that's not true. It started with me calling it's difficult to translate these things into English because it's these bureaucracy German terms. It started with me calling a municipality, the places, an administration, that's the word. It started with me calling an administration that is responsible for name changes. And I just, first I was redirected to the person responsible for the letter M, welcome to Germany.
Okay.
And then with him, he was actually a really nice guy. We talked about this. I just told him, hi, I'm non-binary, I would like to change my name. And he was like, oof, that's difficult because there is no legal space for you, because being non-binary is not legally recognized in Germany, although we have the third gender, but that officially is only for intersex people. And then he just said to me I should call a queer NGO and ask for help, and then I did that. And a month later I had counseling there, and this was actually not helpful, because what this person counseled me to do was like not really not the truth. Like, it was the person was really nice and everything, we had a nice talk, but it was not working what they suggested me to do. And then I went like, then first I went with the option to just change my name, because in the German ID we don't have the gender marker, it's only in the traveling passport. So it wouldn't affect me so much if I still had this F, like who cares. And then I just went with that option, and the very nice guy from the administration sent me like a list with things I need to send them. And then I needed me a few months to collect this, because it was like several documents, and partially I had to get them from my town where I was born in, partially from Stuttgart, and also it was Corona, so everything was more complicated with the administrations in general. And then I also had to go to a psychotherapist for one session to, I don't know, assign me. Yeah, of course, to check that I am really, I don't know, whatever, really trans or whatever, or not a lunatic, or both. And then, then I sent all of this, and then it went around for like through all sorts of administrations, also in my home, like in the town I was born in, until I called there, like I called the guy and was like, hey, what's going on with this thing? And he was like, it's not working, like we don't find any place, like no one is responsible, because there is just no legal space for you in the system. And then he said to me I should go to court. And then I was frustrated for a few months and didn't work on it anymore. And then when there was New Year's 2021 New Year's, my dad was like, go now, do it, you want to do this, let's do this. He motivated me sort of to keep going. And then I called at the court, and it was surprisingly easy, because I already had a lot of papers that they needed from the previous file I sent. And then they sent me to 2 different psychotherapists again, where I also again had to sort of convince them that I'm really trans. And this time now it's also about not only changing the name, but also the gender marker. I would change it into the 3rd option we have in Germany, which is called diverse, which is a bit funny, but it's the officially for intersex people. If you're intersex in Germany, it's really easy to get that, so go for it if you want it. And for some reason, like, it's not really in the law, but at some point lawyers kind of decided that they can take this analogy also for non-binary people, but they still have to work with the law for transsexuals, as it is called in Germany, which is going through this whole process of psychotherapy. Not psychotherapy actually, but just like 2 hours with psychotherapists. And then after that, I went to court with the evaluations of the psychotherapists, which are really incredible. Like, I could talk for hours about these, but let's not go there. And then I got my new name and gender marker on that day, 28th of April. I recently had my anniversary.
Yeah, true. Nice. With this opportunity that you have in Germany, and it's not always also it's not in other countries the same.
Very few countries.
Why do you think it's important to have it, like to have the option to change your gender mark to diverse, to have this option?
Because it's simply in alliance with reality. Because it's just not true that neither sex nor gender is binary. And I mean, if you really need like the straight cis version of we need scientific proof of this, you can just look at intersex people, and this is like scientifically proven intersex people exist. So of course there should also be an affirmative gender marker for them. But also science says that non-binary people exist, and also we say that we exist, and that should actually be enough for that. And I feel like, I mean, it's just not right that you'd have a wrong gender there, because it's wrong information, and official documents, you should have the right information. And also it triggers dysphoria with you, or can trigger dysphoria if you have the wrong gender marker and you have to use it. So, and it can also trigger confusion if you, I don't know, if it says female but you're actually male or non-binary or whatever, and then you get assigned for something wrong, or some confusion happens somewhere, and it can get you into trouble actually. So I feel it's just a very basic and easy right that everyone should have. And it's, yeah, as I said, it's just not the reality that only female and male exist. So we need a third one.
Yeah, regarding the binary system, what are your thoughts on society holding on to this gender binary system as just one and two, no other options?
I have a lot of thoughts, I don't know, but it's difficult to make a point about this. I feel this is something that we've been taught. We have been brought up with this, and like our parents have been brought up with this, their parents and so on have brought up with this, have been brought up with this, not forever, but like at least for, I believe, the last few centuries, I'm not sure, but like from some point in history this idea started. And I think it's a part of conservatism, I would say, to hold on to this. And in my understanding of conservatism, no, honestly, because the thing is, I don't really understand conservatism. I don't understand the point of not wanting things to change, because of course sometimes change is for the worse, but mostly change is for the better, because we're not really living in a good world. So I don't know, I feel it is connected to fear, or to like a sort of like negative feelings, like feeling a bit like unsafe or unsure when you see this idea that like suddenly people want to have another gender, or they're inventing weird names for their genders and stuff like this. This is just like, I feel this is unknown to most people, and that's why they don't accept it, because it doesn't fit into this like very basic things that you have been brought up with. Like since we are children, we're indoctrinated with this binary idea.
True.
Yeah, I feel that's where it comes from. And it's also, of course, depends on the people who have been in power. Like we have had only cis white men in power for the last decades, even centuries. Now it changes a bit more. We have a bit more women and occasionally a person of color. And now, for example, I mean, Germany is actually a good example here, because really here the debate pushed so far that in our in our ministries, half of the ministers are women at this point, and we have also 2 transgender women in parliament. And I think all of these things now influence. And we also have a person who is a cis white man, a gay cis white man, who is the responsible for queer affairs, you could say. Okay. We have like an official job for this now in the German political system, but he does a surprisingly good job. He really advocates for trans rights, actually. He really advocates for the transsexual law, quote unquote, being changed to a more like better law, to a more affirmative and less binary and more self-determination law. And I think, yeah, you can see here we have now more diverse people in power, like people coming from different points. Still, it's very white, still it's very privileged, but it's better than before, I would say. So I guess it also has a lot to do with who has the say. I think it's very similar to like feminism and racism. It's about who makes the norms, who makes the laws. And this is where we have to, I don't know if this is the only thing that will, if only this can like change it all, but I think it's definitely an important step to like say we have to have more people from different backgrounds in power so that they are able to create, not say new norms, but more norms or more possibilities in a way.
Cool. Thank you, Lee, for being on my podcast.
Thanks for having me.
And dear listeners, see you on the next episode. Bye.
Bye bye.
All for rainbow.
All for rainbow.
All for rainbow.
All for rainbow. All for rainbow.